Hello everyone, welcome to Javed Nehal online classes. I'm Javed Nehal, and in today's class I'm going to discuss the topic the constitutional position of the President of India. So let's move to the topic without further ado. You know, in part 5 of the Constitution, Article 52 to Article 78 deal with the Union Executive, which consists of the President, Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers, and the Attorney General of India. Since this presentation is about the constitutional position of the President, so we will first see what the Constitution of India says about the President. Article 52 says, there shall be a President of India. Article 53 declares, the executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President, and so and so. Article 54 talks about the election of the President. Article 55 states the manner how to conduct such election. Article 56 mentions the terms of the President's office. Article 57 election says that the President is eligible for re-election. Article 58 lays down the necessary qualification for election as President. Article 59 stipulates the other condition of the President's office. Article 60 talks about the oath or affirmation of the President. Last but not the least, Article 61 lays down the procedure for impeachment of the Presidents. Now let's discuss this provision in detail. The President of India is the head of the state. He is a symbol of solidarity, unity, and integrity of the nation. He is the supreme commander of our defense forces and also a part of the Union Executive along with the Vice President, the Prime Minister, the Council of Ministers, and the Attorney General of India. The President is also called the first citizen of India. Now, he is the first citizen of India because the President represents all the citizens of our country in India as well as in international forums. The President is the executive head of our nation. All executive actions at the center are taken in President's name. All treaties and international agreements are carried out in his name also. All diplomatic relations are also maintained in his name. No wonder the President is always the first person to be counted when the census takes place in India. Next is the election of the President. Article 54 and Article 55 deals with the election of the President and the manner how to conduct it. Now, the election of the President is not direct. In fact, the President is elected indirectly by an electoral college on the basis of the proportional representation and by the means of single transferable vote system. The voting is through a secret ballot. The electoral college consists of number 1, the elected members of both the houses of parliament, number 2, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of each state, and number 3, the elected members of the legislative assemblies of Union Territories of Delhi and Pondicherry. Now, there are some legislatures who cannot participate in the election of the presidents. These legislatures are the members of legislative councils, the nominated members of both the houses of parliament, the nominated members of state legislative assemblies, and the nominated members of union territories. Now, one important thing to note here, in case of a state assembly stands dissolved. If a state assembly is dissolved, the members of that dissolved assembly cease to qualify to voting for presidential election. Now, next we will talk about the qualification for the election of the President. Article 58 lays down necessary conditions for election of President. Article 58 says that no person shall be eligible for election as President unless he is a citizen of India. So being a citizen of India is a must condition. Secondly, he has completed the age of 35 And thirdly, the person is qualified for election as a member of the Lok Sabha. Again, a person shall not be eligible for election as president if he holds any office of profit under the government of India or the government of any state or any other local authority subject to the control of any of the state governments. Let's talk about the term of office, oath, and re-election of the president. The president holds office for a term of 5 years from the date on which he enters his office. Now, before entering upon his office, the president has to make and subscribe an oath. He swears to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. The oath or affirmation to the president is administered by the Chief Justice of India. If there is no Chief Justice at that point of time, then the senior most judge of the Supreme Court administers the oath. The president is eligible for re-election and may be elected for any number of times. There is no limit imposed by the Constitution of India. The president can hold office beyond the term of 5 years until his successor assumes the charge. The president may resign from his office if he wants by tendering his resignation addressed to the Vice President of India. The president may also be removed before his term of office by way of impeachment. Now, there are also other conditions attached to the president's office. These are: the president should not be the member of either house of parliament or a house of state legislatures. In fact, if any such person is elected as president, he is deemed to have vacated his seat in that house on the date on which he enters upon his office as president. Now, he should not hold any public office. Next, we will see what privilege the president enjoys. Now, during his term of office, the president enjoys certain privilege which are as follows. The president is entitled to use Rashtrapati Bhavan as his official residence and he doesn't have to pay any rent for it. He is also entitled to such emoluments, allowances and privileges as may be determined by the parliament, and those emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during his term of office. Now, Article 361 of the Constitution provides certain protection to the president. The president enjoys personal immunity from legal liabilities of his official act. During his term of office, he is immune from any criminal proceedings, even for his personal acts, and cannot be arrested or imprisoned. However, civil proceedings may be initiated against him during his term of office in respect of his personal acts, and for that purpose, the prior notice of 2 months is necessary. Next, we will see the powers and function of the president. The president enjoys a wide range of power. The constitutional powers and function of the President of India may be explained under the following heads. Number 1, the executive power and function. Number 2, legislative powers and functions. Number 3, financial power and function. Number 4, emergency power and function. Number 5, diplomatic power and functions. Number 6, military power and function. And last, pardoning and judicial powers. Now I will discuss this power and function of the president one by one. First, executive power and function. The president has the executive power to appoint the prime minister and, with his advice, the other ministers to the Union Council. The president has the power to appoint high officials like the Attorney General, Comptroller and Auditor General, Governor of a state, member of the UPSC board, and election commissioners. He also appoints commissions like interstate councils, finance commission, commission for scheduled tribes and backward classes, and official languages. He also appoints the Chief Justice and the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. The president can declare any area as scheduled area and has the power to administer the scheduled and tribal areas. The president directly administers union territories through administrators appointed by him. The president has the power to enter into contracts on behalf of the Indian Union. He issues direction to the state in certain circumstances. The President has the power to make rules for more convenient transaction of the business of the Government of India. And all executive actions of the Government of India are formally taken in the name of the President. Now we will talk about his legislative powers. The President is an integral part of the Parliament and enjoys certain legislative powers. The President can summon, address, and prorogue and can dissolve the Lok Sabha. He can also summon the joint sitting of both the Houses of Parliament, which is presided over by the Speaker of Lok Sabha. He addresses the Parliament at the commencement of first session and after each general election, and also the first session of each year. The President can send messages to the Houses of Parliament with respect to any bills pending. The President can appoint any member of Lok Sabha to preside over its proceeding when the offices of both the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker fall vacant. Needless to say, he can also appoint any member of Rajya Sabha to preside over its proceedings when the office of both the Chairman and Deputy Chairman fall vacant. The President nominates 12 members to Rajya Sabha amongst persons having special knowledge and expertise in the fields of science, literature, arts, and social services. He also nominates 2 members to the Lok Sabha from the Anglo-Indian community. The President also decides on question of disqualification of members of Parliament in consultation with Election Commission. An important thing to note that the President's recommendation is required to introduce in either house a bill for the formation of new states or alteration of area boundaries or names of existing states under Article 3 of the Constitution. Again, the assent of the President is mandatory for any bill to become an act. For general information, I must tell you that when a bill is sent to the President, after the bill has been passed by the Parliament, he can give his assent to the bill or withhold it, or return the bill for reconsideration of the Parliament. But if the bill is passed again by the Parliament with or without amendment and resent to the President, then the President he must give his assent to his bill. The President can promulgate ordinances when the Parliament is not in session. These ordinances must be approved by the Parliament within 6 weeks from its reassembly. The President can also withdraw an ordinance at any point of time. The President also causes to lay the report of the Comptroller and Auditor General, the UPSC Commissions, Finance Commission, and others before the Parliament. Next, we will discuss the financial power and function of the President. Now, the money bills in Parliament can be introduced only with the prior recommendation of the President. President's recommendation is also necessary to incur any expenditure from the Consolidated Fund of India. President's recommendation is also required for introducing in either house of Parliament any bill affecting the tax in which states are interested, which is under Article 274. He causes to be laid before the Parliament the annual financial statement, what is popularly known as the Union Budget. No demand for grant can be made except on his recommendation. The President can make advances out of contingency fund to meet any unforeseen expenditure. The President also constitutes a Finance Commission after every 5 years for distribution of revenues between the center and the states. Now let's move to the emergency power of the President. The Constitution of India empowers the President to proclaim emergencies. The President can declare a national emergency under Article 352 when the security of India or a part of it is threatened by war or external aggression or armed rebellion in respect of the whole of India or such part of Indian territory. He declares emergency for failure of constitutional machinery in a state under Article 356 of the Constitution. The President is also empowered to declare financial emergency under Article 360 if he is satisfied that a situation has arisen due to which the financial stability or the credit of India or any part of its territory is threatened. We will now move to diplomatic powers. The President represents all citizens of India in international forums. All treaties and international agreements are negotiated and concluded on behalf of the President. Of course, such treaties are always subject to the approval of the Parliament. He receives foreign diplomats in our country also. Now we will move to the military powers of the President. The President is the supreme commander of our defense forces. He appoints the Chief of Army, Navy, and Air Forces. The President can declare war and conclude peace, which is, of course, subject to the approval of the Parliament. Now we will see what judicial power the President of India has. The President can seek advice from the Supreme Court on any question of law or facts. However, the President is not bound to accept or follow the advice tendered by it. The President can grant, reprieve, respite, remission, suspend, and commutation of any sentences of a person convicted of any offences, whether by the military or any criminal court. Now we will move to the impeachment of the President. The President can also be removed from his office before the completion of his tenure by way of impeachment for the violation of the Constitution. Now the expression violation of Constitution has nowhere been defined in the Constitution. But since the primary duty of the President is to defend the Constitution and uphold the laws of India, and also to preserve and protect the sovereignty and integrity of the nation, and since the President is sworn to it, he may be impeached in case he acts contrary to his oath and affirmation. The impeachment charges may be initiated by either House of Parliament. The article of charges should be signed by 1/4 member of the Houses, and 14 days notice should be given to the President. Now the impeachment is a quasi-judicial procedure, and the President has the right to appear or to be represented to such investigation and defend the charges against him. After the impeachment of resolution is passed by the majority of 2/3 of the total membership of that House, it is sent to the other House to investigate the charges. If the other House also sustains the charges and passes the impeachment resolution by a majority of 2/3 of total membership, then the President stands removed from his office from the date on which the resolution is passed. Now there are two interesting facts to mention here. Firstly, in the presidential election, the nominated members of either House of Parliament are not allowed to elect the President, but they can participate in the impeachment of the President. That was the first case. Now secondly, the elected members of the Legislative Assembly of States and the Union Territories of Delhi and Pondicherry participate in President election, but they cannot participate in his impeachment. Now it's the time to sum up and find the real and actual position of the President of India as per our Constitution. In this discussion, we find that the President is conferred with wide range of power. But it is important to remember that the President cannot exercise such powers directly. The system of government in India is a cabinet form of government, and the President is only a constitutional head like the King or Queen of Britain. Now, it is also very different from American form of government. Though the executive heads of the Federal Republic of India and the United States of America are both called President, but the powers conferred upon and the function performed by the two presidents are completely polar apart. Now let's see what does the Article 53 of the Constitution of India says. Now Clause 1 of the Article 53 of the Constitution of India, which vests the executive power of the Union in the President, states the executive power of the Union shall be vested in the President and shall be exercised by him either directly or through officers subordinate to him in accordance with this Constitution. Now this Article 53 should be read in conjunction with the Clause 1 of the Article 74 and also Article 75. Now Article 74 says there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Ministers at the head to aid and advise the President, who shall in the exercise of his function act in accordance with such advice. Article 75 contains a specific provision to the functioning of the Council of Ministers, under the leadership of the Prime Minister. The clause 3 of the Article 75 states the Council of Ministers shall be collectively responsible to the House of People. Now here's the catch line: collectively responsible to the House of People. When Article 53, read in conjunction with Article 74 and 75, we find all constitutional powers which are vested in the President are actually exercised and executed by the Union Ministers under the Prime Ministers of India. Again, such powers and functions are always subject to the scrutiny and approval of the Parliament. So in reality, the powers vested in the President and the function performed in his name are subject to the scrutiny and approval of both the Houses of Parliament. Again, though the President is not answerable to any court for his official act and is also immune from any criminal proceedings even for his personal acts, in reality it is not so. We have learned that civil proceedings may be initiated against him during his term of office in respect of his personal acts after giving a prior notice of 2 months' time. As for the pardoning power of the President is concerned, it is also subject to judicial review as was held in E. Sudhakar versus the Government of Andhra Pradesh AIR 2006. Now here I finished my presentation. Thank you for watching. In case you have any questions or queries, please write to me. My email address is javednehal@email.com. And please subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.